Here. All right, we're back.
I know, right?
we are we're back. I had a little minor mini glitch at the beginning. Maybe somebody saw it starting on the intro screen, not on the intro screen. Excuse me. Anyway, good morning. I'm sorry. Good afternoon, Benton Harbor,
And
uh,
Ben Township.
in Benton Township. Well, I say Benton Harbor. It's Benton Harbor, Benton Township are the same.
Yeah, it
So
is.
yeah, my fault though. But yeah, we make sure we're clear on that. So today is February 20th, 2025. You're on with Chat with the Chief. Good to be back. Benton Harbor. Last week, we were not on. Actually, I was out of town. I went to Boston to see my son compete. For those who don't know, my son went to school to play football and track, but now he's just focusing on track and he attends West Point. So they were in Boston. So we flew to Boston to see him. And if you have never been to Boston, Chief, it is absolutely a horrible town. Do not go.
Really?
Traffic is horrific. It is awful, 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 awful. So it was quite an experience. I would never go back there ever again, unfortunately, for any reason. And we were happy to get out of there.
Okay.
But we saw my boy. We don't see him that often. So that's where we were last week. So, and I forgot to mention that the week before that we wouldn't be on because I would be out of town. But now I am back. So we're here with Chief Abrams. Always looks sharp. And I swear, you get more handsome the older you get. You look terrific.
So you better start making me blush over here. You know I'm only one color.
So
Oh, shucks.
I will say, actually went no Tuesday. Tuesday is Thursday. Tuesday was actually my birthday.
Oh, happy
So
birthday. See, I didn't know that.
yeah, I'm not a big fanfare guy. I put it out there today, but yeah, that was my birthday, and I'm here. It's been a long, long month. So as some people, most people know, some don't know, as what makes the difference between, say, me and my title and you and your title is I'm the director of public safety. You're the
Right.
chief of police. So technically, the director over in Benton Harbor, we're public safety by charter. So I not only have the police department, but police, fire, and actually code enforcement. So of course, our police and fire are combined, but I still have code enforcement. So I spent all this month literally in meetings and whatnot for the code enforcement part. So that's why my title is technically director, although most people call me chief, which I don't mind at all. And that's the difference between us because you have the ability to be police only.
Well, I'm actually in charge of code enforcement as well.
Yeah, well, you got your guys don't have to. One of the problems we have, chief, is we have with the training requirements for the fire department or the fire side and the training requirements for the police side.
Mhm.
As you know, we got new MCOs, or on the police side, new mandatory annual training. We have the same thing in the fire service. I
Mhm.
want to say like 36 hours. I might be off. And, we got 24 hours we got to do on the police side. So that
Okay.
just makes it a little bit more challenging to get all the mandatory training in that we have to have. So,
That
uh,
sounds like a lot.
yeah, it is. So, but we get it done.
So good.
So, good morning to, I'm sorry, good afternoon to Sandra Gutierrez. And, oh, thank you for the belated birthday. Thank you much. So, Chief, what's going on with you?
You know what? I have been hard charging at just building my department up from the inside. We just got new radars for all our squad cars, and so I've been working hard trying to get those installed in our vehicles. It's just been the day-to-day grind, um, pretty much. And as far as our complaint load, I think because of the weather, the complaint load has dipped down, but our course, our accidents have trended upward for obvious reasons. This weather has been brutal, and we just want to remind our drivers out there to slow down, leave early enough, check your tires, just to make sure you got enough, good tread on them. Don't overdrive your vehicle. If you know the tread on your car, on your tires ain't much there, don't be trying to speed because you're not gonna be able to stop. So, or make a good turn without running into somebody. So, just be aware of your vehicle because right now this weather's brutal out here.
So, Chief, I had a question for you.
Yeah,
So, we talk about Benton Harbor and Benton Township, and a lot of people don't necessarily know our borders. Like, for example, they don't know that the city is 4.6 square miles. And oftentimes we get calls and FOIA requests and background requests to us because people on the outside don't know that Benton Township and Benton Harbor share the 49022 um, uh, area code. So what is exactly, you mentioned your accidents because you have a lot of highway, you got a
right.
lot of roads. What's the size of the township and what are the borders, if you will? Because I believe the township is 21 square miles.
32,
Oh,
32.6.
32.6.
Right. And so we have about maybe 2 miles of 31 bypass.
Mm,
Um, we have a stretch of 94 that starts at the 27 all the way down to the 38, if I'm not mistaken, on I-94 east and westbound. And then we have about 3 or 4 miles on I-196. So we handle accident in all those areas. And the Michigan State Police has played a great role in helping us with a lot of the accidents we've had. So kudos to them because they've been there for us. And they told us years ago, say, hey, when accidents get to the point where it's taking your officers off the road to handle calls, we'll step in. And they've done that. And I always will appreciate their help. And the county as well. They've helped with some of our accidents as well.
okay. So, and the dividing line between the city and the township technically is Fair Avenue. The city goes to the 800 block on our east, and south we go to the borders in this area are very
It's
strange. So,
weird because the train tracks on Pipestone, which pretty much is where we divide at. So after the train tracks on Pipestone, if you're
yep,
heading south, after the train tracks becomes Benton Township. Before the train tracks, if you're going north, will be Benton Harbor City.
right. So, like Dave's True Haven. Wait a minute, I just dated myself. I'm sorry. Cartars.
Yes.
Cartars is in the township. For you're on that side of the tracks. So, and on the south side, we go to Emory, kinda, because we have on Union, one side of the street is the city, the other side is township for the 1300 block of Union,
Yes.
and then on Bishop, the left side, or if you're looking south, one side is the city, and the other side is township. So one of the things that we, when we're teaching new officers and we try to get people to understand our borders, is if you see sidewalks, is city. If it's no sidewalks, it's township.
Right.
Now, as of recently, it's not totally always exactly that because I've seen some sidewalks built in township. But if you're
Whereas,
by our border, and I don't know why this is, but township doesn't have sidewalks, and city does. So, just so people get, because I know people who think they live in Benton Harbor City and actually live in township. Like there are a lot of people in our area that don't really know the boundaries again because the 49022 Benton Harbor 49022 is actually, it's not just Benton Harbor City and Benton Township. It's Sodus. It's parts of St. Joe Township. There's a little sliver part of St. Joe. So a lot of people get confused. And one of the things, I'm about to go on the soapbox here for a second, that bothers the heck out of me when you see those very phony studies of the most dangerous cities in Michigan or in the country.
mm,
What they do, and I'm a sociologist, so I can debunk the formula that they use. They multiply it by 100,000 and make, no matter what size of the city, they make it 100,000, although we're only 9. So you can't put us, just simply divide us by 100,000 and now compare us to a Grand Rapids or a Detroit or Indianapolis or whatever. So you don't want to hear my speech on that because that's very misleading and it's very spurious, because you have to, if you're going to do that, you have to make sure that your data set is as free from spuriousness as possible. And you have to make sure that the communities that you're comparing it to are similar in its population set. Again, I can go on and on about my problem with the statistics, but my point is this: because outside, when they get these dangerous statistics, although for us, for many years, our crime is always trending down. There have been times where it has been, especially when we had the break-ins of cars, that did go up a little bit. But we are actually always, according to the state of Michigan, the real stats are in a good spot statistically. But they'll take Benton Township and Ben Harbor numbers, not knowing that we are two separate jurisdictions, and run them together. So if you guys ever see quote unquote Benton Harbor on any most dangerous list, I can guarantee you 9 times out of 10, they have commingled the stats, because the average person doesn't know that Benton Township is separate yet in the 49022. And quite honestly, I think most people who are not from here don't even know that there is a Benton Township. So they
Right.
think we're all the same. And
Well, Ben Harbor,
we get screwed with stats on that, Chief, which, as you see, makes me upset.
yeah. You know what I was also thinking? I said, maybe the public got it right and the everybody else got it wrong as far as 49022, because everybody says Ben Harbor. Maybe we should have been thinking that way a long time ago, merging our resources together a long time ago, so we could have became or become the department that you and I have always visualized from a long time ago.
No time. Well,
Resources.
God is sovereign. His time is his time.
Yeah.
So, here's a brick sailboat. The city used to have a multi-fold map with every street listed. I was able to give them to someone asking for directions after giving them verbal guidance. Uh, and Mr. Bricksail, I think it's Mr. Bricksail, is showing his age because maps, fold maps, a long time ago. Matter of fact, my kids didn't even know that there were such thing as folding maps back in the day, and which is kind of funny because remember when we all had back in the day the AAA membership, and when we go on a trip, we call it in and they get our map package together. I have with GPS now, I have no idea how we got anywhere
I know,
with
right?
those maps. With those maps.
Oh shucks. You know what? Luckily, my military background helped me with maps, because we had to know coordinates and geoazimuths. We had to know all of that crap. So of course, when I got out, reading the map wasn't as hard for me because I was able to kind of figure out landscaping on maps.
Yeah.
But yeah, everybody didn't get that.
Here we got Shaquille Turner. Good morning. I keep saying good morning. Good afternoon, sir. When will that be addressed? Well, I think you're talking about the commingling of stats. Um, the problem is, all right, on the state level, it's not. When we get the statistics from the state of Michigan, it's properly broken down by the correct municipality and jurisdiction. The problem is, Mr. Turner, is that if you're not from Benton Harbor, like say for example, you are a reporter in Denver, Colorado, and you want to do a report on the most dangerous cities. Well, what you're going to do is go to the UCR, the Uniform Crime Report, which is from the FBI. It is from that perspective that they're aggregated together. So again, if you're from a Denver or Indianapolis or Los Angeles, you won't know. So to answer your question, these various when these polls come out, they're always from different sources, and we don't know exactly when they're doing it, where they're from. So they just get the information that they think is has veracity, and they publish it. And there's really not much we can do about it. Again, the state of Michigan is not done that way, but when others try to pull together their little articles for their little comparisons, that's when it gets conflated. So that's a good question. And we've had discussions on the state level, because there was one year where you know what, I'm trying not to, I don't want to monopolize this, but there was one year we actually had a fight with the state of Michigan because they knowingly and willingly were going to publish erroneous stats. And we actually went to war with them. And they actually said to us, this is from a phone conversation and an email. Yes, we know these stats are not accurate. However, we've already compiled them. Although they have not gone to print yet, there's nothing we can do. Well, we raised heck, myself, actually the MSP captain of the district, the mayor, and although they didn't change the stats they published, they put a little paragraph, actually a good sized paragraph at the beginning that says the stats for Ben Harbor are not the true stats of Ben Harbor are not reflected in this report, that they're actually less than reported. Now, how could you put that disclaimer in the report but not change the stats themselves to the ones that you knew? Because, Chief, we got the correct stats from them. So they in their own admittance used two separate stats,
Mhm.
but they wouldn't use the worst ones. So we have
Well,
had
there was
that.
no reasoning behind
Huh?
that statement. There was no reason behind that statement, just that the stats were not correct. But didn't give a reason why.
No, no, they just acquiesced to our badgering them, and did that. So what? And here is again back to Shaquille's question, is the fact that looking at the state of Michigan stats for that year. Here again, where I say it really burns my soul when I see these quote unquote most dangerous lists. And I know for a fact they don't jive for the stats that I see every month, as well as how the methodology is. But what the actual stats told us percentage wise this particular year, and I don't want to say the wrong jurisdiction, but there was jurisdictions in Benton Harbor smaller than us that had higher crime rates and increases. Let me say that again. Again, your director in Benton Harbor is a sociologist. I've taken research methods. You can't throw no stats at me. That's random. So this particular year, again, our argument was, according to your stats, state of Michigan, I was going to say community A and B, they're both Berry County communities. Their rates of crime rate were going up while ours were going down, and statistically their rate was higher than ours. Now, you won't hear that from anybody outside because everybody wants to throw smuck at Benton Harbor, but you're not gonna fool me with that nonsense. So again, we went to war, and I guess we kind of won because they did acknowledge it. They did put in the disclaimer, and that was it. So we haven't actually had that problem since. But you know what? You gotta watch the hen house around here, and that's where again, Chief. I'm gonna shut up here in a second, but
No, no, you go ahead.
you know my soapbox. When we talk about social justice, we automatically want to attach that to police and how police act and how police treat people in Benton Harbor. Again, I'm talking about all Benton Harbor, all 4.6 and 32 point whatever miles of us. The social justice we need to be seeking is how we are treated and perceived, not only across the bridge, but in the state of Michigan. That's my problem. I believe social justice should be curtailed to the community in which they are facing certain issues. And our issues are a lack of respect and a lack of transparency for outside agencies who want to use our data for their particular purposes, but they'll skew it, misreport it, and knowingly will admit it when you call them on that. But again, nothing changes. I still get complaints about how people are treated at the courthouse.
Mhm.
There's your social justice cry right there. So I need preachers to get on board. We need preachers to get on board and demand that we get treated fairly in all these venues.
I agree.
I'm gonna stop right there, Chief, because again, I don't want to start preaching here. But
No, no, see, I'm sucking it all in. See, you've had the opportunity to be the director for how many years have you been sitting in that chair?
10. We're actually working on 11.
Okay, so me being a newcomer, all these things that you've learned, I'm still in that learning curve, to find out that these things are going on. And that's why you and I have our daily discussions from time to time because we both get upset about how things are going. So it's always, good to hear that refreshing sound from you, that's coming from the heart about how um, we're looked at, not only through Berrien County, but or St. Joe, but through the state as well. Why are we the sacrificial lamb, of all the other communities around here? That part has always gotten me. I never got a real answer, and I'm seeing that the numbers that you're talking about and how they come up with these numbers, is it comes from up top. It's definitely not coming from a real world scenario where we actually give stats to someone about what's going on in Benton Township and what's going on in Benton Harbor, and then they compare those stats with other agencies or other communities. That's not what's going on. It needs to be done at a smaller level so we can compare real numbers to other agencies so we can get off this top of the list of being the most dangerous place to live at in Berrien County or Michigan for that fact.
Absolutely. So, I can give you a couple examples if time willing, and people are interested in hearing. I can give you two specific examples of issues that we have of the courts not wanting to do anything. So, first one, I'll just remind you. Remember, a couple years ago, actually, it was about 4 years ago. I'm bad with time, you guys. But when I started chat with the chief, remember, I was at war with the judges, one in particular, again, for the sake of a older, calmer McGinnis and respect for the courts and the court system overall. I won't name this individual. Some of you guys might remember, and if you post it, I'll post it. But anyway, there was a judge. So back in the here is let me explain to you what I mean social justice the right way. So you guys know in Benton Harbor, actually Benton Township. Again, when I say Benton Harbor, I'm talking about both sides of the line. We have had for years illegal dumping problems. I think everyone on listening and everyone in Benton Harbor would agree with that. And there was again, I can't remember the year. I want to say maybe I think this is pre-COVID, where we had like 30 dumping arrests. We set up cameras. I think I had 3 arrests myself personally because I ran. That was important. Our citizens said this is important to us, and that's what we focused on. And we
So
had
I
we had
remember that.
yeah. So what happened, Ms. Pettigrew, is that when it comes to dumping and environmental things, there are certain laws in different parts of the book that we don't write on a normal basis. So I tried to contact the chief judge, and I wanted to sit down with the chief judge and the court administrator to make sure that if we were to write certain dumping tickets or illegal transportation of tires, because we know tires were popping up everywhere all over Benton Harbor and Benton Township. I just simply wanted to make sure that the codes aligned. So when our officers wrote, say, a state ticket for improper transport of tires because we caught somebody in the alley with a bed full of tires, that we would be on the same page. So I had respectfully asked the chief judge for an audience to meet with him and the court administrator to talk about that. Well, he screened me down to another judge under him, and that judge who had or has, because I learned he's still there, a God complex, and he sent me this really crappy email. It basically was screening me and told me that he wouldn't meet with me because he felt I was going to try to influence some of the cases that were in court.
What?
Okay, just so y'all know, Ben Harbor, we take on average 12,000 complaints a year. I'm involved in almost none of those, nor do I know what is where at any given time because there's so many. So I have never reached out to a judge before. But I had good reason because our citizens were asking for us to combat illegal dumping. And I tried to make sure that we're on the same page because we need the courts. And of course, after he sent me kind of this really not great email, what did I do? Responded back in kind. Just because you're a judge don't mean that you can talk to anybody like you want to. So I blasted him. I let him have it. I spoke about it publicly. Nothing really changed much. I did talk to the subsequent chief judge after that, who asked me. We had a great conversation, and she understood both sides. I give her credit. I have utmost respect for actually almost all the judges, of course, except for this one. But my point was, the citizens of Ben Harbor said this is an important issue to us. Police department, code compliance, do something. We did something, and when I felt if the chief of a city, who we don't meet with the judges hardly ever, do we? Hardly ever would request a meeting with the chief judge, you would think because they serve us, let's be technical, they serve us, our community for justice, that if the chief asked for a meeting, that they would meet with the chief, not screen him off like he was some type of whatever. And I know for a fact at then Paul Bailey, the sheriff, and I know for a fact that the one of the directors of St. Joe have met with the judges before at their request, because I don't do stuff and don't do my research. So why was it that you will meet with the sheriff or the St. Joe director of public safety, but you won't meet with McGinnis, who simply wants to make sure that you have the codes for any crimes that we might cite for dumping, and now I'm blacklisted, which is fine because my blacklist is longer than theirs. So that's one example, and I think some of you guys remember that. Here recently, again, I'm gonna be very transparent, Benton Harbor, with you guys, and again, I'm gonna say Benton Harbor City, but I know for a fact Township's treated the same way. You might ask, well, why does the city in some areas look so bad? Why we got this house over here? Why we got this over there? We have, as you know, well, maybe you don't know. So we reshaped last year code compliance. Actually, they're all firefighters. Everyone is cross trained in a different way, and we've upped our inspections. We're working on getting the department up and going, but several we have cited several people for violations. We got people who have are renting properties that are not up to code, that they didn't register them. They look horrible. Well, we have I want to say, I don't know, dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of tickets sitting over at the courthouse, and we were recently told, to the city manager, to our city attorney, that the judges don't care about city ordinance tickets. They don't care about that. So if you're looking for them, this is what was told to us. Now, I will say I wasn't part of that conversation. This was our city attorney reporting back to us. But if we have ordinances for a reason, we have judges and the court system for a reason. You can't tell us that our ordinances are not important and that you're not going to enforce them. That's what we're dealing with right now. So maybe people out there have maybe called us and filed a complaint. It's a good chance that we went out there and taken some enforcement action, but we just got tickets out there just hanging because the judge was saying, for the most part, this is my interpretation, not a concern, y'all take care of it. That is the truth of the matter. So when we talk about social justice, I'm gonna shut up and turn it back over to you, boss. When we talk about social justice, that's the social justice we need in Ben Harbor. Treat us fairly. When we come to the table, we have a right to be at the table. We got qualified people at the table. Guess what? I went to Michigan too. So don't play me like, or try to play me like I'm dumb when I'm representing my people and we are doing the will of the people. No one want no trashy yard, trashy neighbor, trashy lot. But you have what we call in sociology NIMBY, not in my backyard. What that means is whatever happened over there don't matter to us. We don't care. As long as it's not happening in community A, whatever happened in Benton Harbor, Benton Township is not our concern. That's a problem. That's where we should be shaping our social justice efforts at. I'm gonna stop there, Chief, because I get excited. You get me excited, man. You gotta stop.
Well, sometimes we come across these actual titles or whatever you want to call them, these facts that need to be put out there, and I think our community needs to know, because if they don't know, it makes us look like that we're the one failing them, and that's not really what's going on. We're
Bingo.
we're
Bingo.
putting in the work, but we're getting pushback. So right now, like I said, I've been a cop for 31 years, but I've never been over an ordinance enforcement program. But now that I am over an ordinance enforcement program, uh, I've been working with a new attorney, and we're processing our ordinances a little bit differently. We've changed our misdemeanor ordinances all to civil infraction ordinances. I honestly don't think a person should catch a misdemeanor charge because they've been asked to clean up trash in their yard and they just never got to it. That don't deserve a misdemeanor charge. So we switched over all of our misdemeanor charges for ordinance violations to civil infractions. Makes it much easier. It doesn't go on their record, and to me, that's good for the community. But on the backside of that, we become more here at Benton Township and Benton Harbor actually more aggressive in our enforcements. And I can give you examples. I mean, we had a business that said a truck of just tires. I mean, a trailer of nothing but tires, and pretty much we just told the company, hey, look, either you get rid of the tires or we'll get rid of them for you. We'll charge you, and then we'll send you a bill, and you're going to have to pay. If you hit them in their pocket, that's when things start to move. Because here at Township, our motto is, we don't want your money. We want compliance. When we say, hey, your grass is 2 feet tall, sir, can you cut your grass? If you don't cut your grass, then our public works department is going to come out. They're going to cut your grass for you, and they're going to charge you $300 a lot. And that's pretty much what they charge for a basic lot, $300. And if you don't pay it, guess what? It's going on your taxes. So one way or another, you're going to, lose your land or your house, or you just have to pay the tax. So we've got great response out of these changes, and we're going to continue that route. And just because we send you out a notice that says you have 10 days, we know for a fact that everybody are not in the same boat when it comes to, the personal issues and problems they have.
Right.
If you talk to us and tell us, hey, I know the ordinance says we got 10 days to do this, but sir, I got these things going on. Can you give me 15 days instead?
Absolutely, we can. Yes.
99% of the time, we're going to say, you know what? I'll
Mhm.
check back with you in 15 days because we want to see you succeed and make your property just as nice as the next door property who may have complained on. And that's what it's all about. That's how we keep our community safe. That's how we create dialogue with our community. And as far as I'm concerned, safer community, a better community, cleaner community.
So, Chief, ironically, one of the excuses that was given to us, because we also decriminalized our ordinances because our commission and us, we felt the same way. Like, certain stuff, man, because our ordinances were all misdemeanors. So even
Mhm.
if you say you were wad up say a McDonald's bag and throw it on the sidewalk, misdemeanor. That's not. You know what? That's no.
That's too
But
much.
the reason was given to our city attorney was, well, you guys decriminalize your ordinances, of course, which they weren't enforcing anyway, and now they're not criminal; they're civil infractions. All right, so that's your excuse for not enforcing those. So here's another problem that we're working on in the city ordinances. There's no penalties. So again, when you see citizens of Benton Harbor City, what looks like nothing being done, there's a good chance something is. However, it's caught up in this cycle of what do we do? Because of course not taking any action, and we don't have any laws on the books for penalties. So that's what we are doing now. Actually, we were this week, this month, I was in 3 committee meetings. We got public safety, I was in legislative, we was in finance yesterday, on making sure we have teeth in our ordinances to be able to have some bite when these people are violators. So this is kind of, I think, really decades of just kind of not being ran properly, and we're just trying to figure this out. Here you got a bunch of cops and firefighters trying to also now figure out the right way for code enforcement, code compliance, and ultimately for our citizens. So it's a daunting task, but it is what it is. And of course, we appreciate all support and all help from our people. So yeah, I didn't even get to the kind of updates. And now we're
That's
at
okay. This was important, and these things needed to be said.
yeah. So Ben Harbor, we do want to hear from you. Like, so say for example, you live in a city and there's a house that's a mess or whatever the case may be, a lot. Maybe you've called on it before and you haven't seen any movement on that. Keep calling. I'm saying keep calling. It could be that we haven't got that on the radar yet. But I can tell you, we keep pretty good logs of when we get a call, because a lot of the things we're doing now are complaint based. We jump on them, and we got some pretty good staff now that are pretty proactive. So I would encourage you, keep calling, keep calling, keep calling until you see some movement. And this is right here is my number. It's not the code compliance number, but you can give me a call, and I'll make sure I get it routed and get it looked into. Because we're also looking at these slumlords. Like, again, take advantage of our folks. They got substandard houses they're living in that wouldn't pass an inspection from Ronald McDonald, little less an actual inspector. Um, and they're not paying their annual registrations. They don't have insurance on houses. They're bootleg wired. If they catch fire, they walk away from them. And now the city of Ben Harbor is dealing with a burnout house because we had nothing on the books to acquire one. And this is what we're working on, city. Even if you have a house, if there's a person who owns property that even it's vacant or abandoned, you need to still register it with us so that we can make sure you're on a timeline to either fix it up, get somebody in it, or tear it down. Because right now we don't have that. And the other big thing is, and this is where we've had some kickback, is because a lot of the houses that get burnt down, there's no requirement for them to have fire insurance. So again, if you live in the city and there's a house that caught on fire and burnt down on your block and is still there 2, 3, 4 years later, it's because we don't have any teeth in our ordinances to go after these people, these slumlords who simply walked away from the property. So those are issues that we're dealing with. And we ask that you be patient with us. We know what issues are. Actually, we also know what we don't know, which is why we do a lot of research. Chief Kaz, who's over the fire department and co-compliance, has spent a lot of time in other agencies. He was in Muskegon this past week, learning from them as well as sharing information as far as our fire service. But, I can't stand our city looking the way it looks at times. And I don't want people to not know that we're getting pushback from across the bridge. It is what it is. Be mad at me. Everyone who know me know I don't care. I'm going to tell the folks for the people that live over here. And I'm assuming, Chief, I didn't change your number. We got the similar issues in township. If you're seeing something, get with the chief, or he'll refer it to his co-people. I'll let him speak to that. But we want to clean up all of Ben Harbor, y'all. All of Ben Harbor, not just the city, not just township. But remember, we are all one, guys.
That's right. Right now, we have placed some. I'll just say we placed some actions against a couple of hotels in Benton Township that are being made to clean up their act, because we know it's just a cesspool of nothing but drugs and crime going on at these particular hotels. So they've been notified through our attorneys, and they're being forced to make some changes in their policies. They're being forced to do some serious renovations because we're tired of all the complaints. I think we've had over 200 complaints at each of these two hotels. 200 complaints in 1 year at both of these hotels. That's taking up too much police resources. It's not fair, and they need to be held accountable. These owners who are not from here, I'll put that out there too. They're not from here, but they own these hotels, and a lot of times I think they're responsible for, a lot of our businesses that they own to start deteriorating from the inside out. And
Yeah.
I'm talking about as far as the stores are concerned that they own, the hotels that they own. It's like when they take over, things they start slipping. The place starts looking bad, then parts of the community starts looking bad, and then we at code compliance, or the Harbor Police Department or Benton Township have to go clean up these things, only for someone else to come in and take over when they've been fined so many times, to start the process all over again. It's tiresome. It's really tiresome.
Chief, you didn't open up a can of worms on probably a whole nother show.
I know.
Only thing I'm gonna say to this is, because we have 40 minutes, we promise we're gonna be 20 to 30 minutes. And I'm going. There's a lot of comments coming up. I'm gonna go online and answer those directly. A lot of good comments. Shaquille had a good question. Yeah. Well, you know what? Interesting. But let me say this though. To what you just said, here's another problem I have. Folks gotta they got to require more. What I mean by that is Benton Harbor, Benton Township citizens, there's been time we've all had it where we get called to JMBs, HMBs. What's going on? The guy at the counter called me a blank, 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 blank. Would have stopped buying your liquor there.
Exactly.
So we need to, again, social justice needs to be reflexive. We also need not to support them that are poisoning our community. And again, that's a whole new show right there.
There is.
That's a whole new show right there because I get so tired of driving by. Liquor stores are the greatest churches in Berrien County right now. I said it. Liquor stores have more influence than the churches. That's a crying shame.
Mm-hmm.
You know what?
That's a whole nother show, and I think we're gonna have to tackle that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? We should do that. And when you saints, or I'm sorry, look at me, I'm in church. Anyway, all my Ben Harbor folks are my saints. When you see the numbers of the liquor stores here, we have liquor stores in the city that sell almost as much liquor sales as Myers and Walmart. If you don't believe me, I got the receipts.
Combined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man. So, all right, y'all. We gonna get out of here. The comments are rolling in. We appreciate you. Here we talk about what needs to be talked about. We're not going to try to pull wool over your eyes. I think hopefully I've seen in Chief Abrams, and hopefully you guys have seen in us. If we didn't do something right or not doing something well, we're gonna say it. If there are issues that are obstacles to us as we try to serve you, we're gonna say it. That's at great risk of being ostracized. Before Chief Abrams got on the team, it was just me being the loud clanking cymbal. And it is what it is. But the same token, you're gonna respect us because we are Ben Harbor. And I'm gonna leave it right there.
Amen. All right, my brother. And I've seen some of the comments too. Yeah, I'm gonna try to get to some of those as well. But it's gonna take all of us, not just ordinance, not just police, not just fire. It's gonna take our community to step up the program as well. We're gonna start denying ourselves of some of these. What's the word I'm looking for? These easy way outs of, hey, I'm not gonna go to Walmart or Myers. I'm gonna go around to the corner store, buy my stuff from here because it's just easy to do. The path of least resistance. Let me get off that one because I keep going. Okay.
All right, Ben Harbor. So we're a little bit over our time, but we definitely appreciate the comments coming in, and we would ask that you share this link. Of course, it's live, but of course, it can be replayed on YouTube or Facebook. And what's amazing is Chief Abrams and I started with like, man, we don't got nothing to talk about. So,
which is a good thing to an extent.
Yeah. So again, we'd love to hear from you guys. Until next week, same time, same channel. You have been on here with Chat with the Chief, here with Director McGinnis from Benton Harbor City, and the incomparable Chief Greg Abrams from Benton Township. We thank you. We appreciate your support, and we will talk to you next week.